I'm going to show you the length of my hair in comparison to my skirt. I don't think that's a good angle, actually. And sometimes I still do live streams. I just haven't done as many because honestly, I kind of have a time. And here's my hair. The skirt is like black. My hair is like dark brown. I feel like the henna has made my hair lighter in places than it was, but you know, I do kind of a Middle Eastern thing with hair. So yes, I do henna, Middle Eastern Indian thing. Because henna has been very good for me, and I just love the conditioning properties of okay. But when I talk the pure henna, I don't do like adulterated henna. Like a lot of people, they don't. Like when I haven't done henna. Like I did a henna oil treatment on the top of my hair a few weeks ago, but I haven't done a pure henna treatment since early March. I keep wanting to do one because I just love henna. It's one of my favorite legit things that's really done me well with hair. You know, it just strengthens your hair strands, and I love like how it makes my hair look really shimmery red in the sunlight. I just really love it. Like, it's fun. Like, henna is fun for me, but I do it like the Indian way, like, because women in India, like, their hair grows like crazy, and they have thick, coarse hair. Like, for me, being part Middle Eastern, my hair isn't quite as thick as most Indian women, but I feel like henna really works on my hair. It probably doesn't, like a lot of people say, oh, well, henna doesn't work for their hair. I think you have to kind of know your hair texture too. If your hair is more fine, I'm not saying henna can't work for you, but that could be, it could also be the way you mix it. Because before I applied henna, I looked to see like, what do women do in Pakistan, in India, and I decided that I like the idea of the coconut milk as opposed to real milk, but I don't add lemon juice or anything like that. So I haven't done henna in a long time, but I would like to do it again sometime. It's not mandatory. I think my hair is good with just coconut oil as well. But yeah, henna is like straight up one of my favorite hair conditioners, hair masks, because I don't do hair masks, but occasionally I do henna, and I also love how it, on really dark hair like mine, it doesn't really change the color. It just kind of gives you red highlights, and I like it. It's fun. But I've always kind of gone Middle East, Asia in my hair care sense. Like, that's the one thing, I guess, like what's worked for me is kind of following that way of going into hair care. So would like to do henna again, but you have to have 100% pure henna if you do it. And you also need to know, is it good for your hair type? Because I think if you have finer hair, I'm not saying that it wouldn't work on your hair or it's not good for your hair, but I think finer hair textures, maybe that's why some people experience issues with henna. But I also think too, did they use real henna? Because the other day when I was at Sally Beauty, I noticed, oh, they have henna now. They didn't have it years ago, but it wasn't real henna. It was like PPD henna. And just like with hair dye, where you shouldn't put hair dye on your hair, the problem is the chemical additive of the PPD to the henna, not the henna itself. And also, too, a lot of women, when they when they use henna on their hair in an experimental way, the next month they want to bleach their hair, they want to dye it, and you really can't do that once you've hennaed your hair. Like, if you're gonna do henna, it's more like you're into natural hair care, and you're not planning on ever using a chemical dye on your hair, like ever. So occasionally I do put henna on my hair, but I do it in the Indian kind of way, and I think it works for me because my hair texture, and I do have a tendency to have coarser, thicker hair, maybe not as like heavy as some of the Indian women, but I think on coarser, thicker, heavier hair, henna can be beneficial. Now, actually in India they do henna their hair during the monsoon season, and it's like a protein treatment to your hair. Like there's a lot of good qualities to henna, but I think you need to know if it works with your hair type. You can't just do anything with your hair and say, "Oh, that's gonna work for me." No, and I've been experimental over the years. Like I don't do henna all the time either. Like occasionally I do it, and I have done it less this year because of the pandemic and because I didn't want to make the bathtub messy. But I did do a henna oil treatment, and I kind of want to experiment with that because I feel like making my own henna oil. But this is the sad part. When I made it a few weeks ago, I got some of it on my scalp, and then I accidentally spilled the rest of it. And I wanted to film it and everything, but you can't really film something you spill. You know? Yep. So, oh, and I forgot to mention I'm wearing my green panda bear shirt with a drawing that I created, which my friend, she loved panda bears, so I created this little drawing of a mommy and panda bear. So yeah. Anyway, I'm just kind of being a rambling live stream because I have a lot of going on this morning. I am drawing again. I'm drawing a picture of Harem Sultan. She was the first like unofficial queen of the Ottoman Empire. I find her fascinating. Like if you watch the Turkish show Magnificent Century, I really recommend it. It's on YouTube. I think I've talked about it in live streams before I did with Aya, but I really want to do a video about okay, Magnificent Century is very fictionalized with Turkish television when it was on the air, but Turks are fun. Like their shows, like now, I don't know, like I haven't watched a lot of their newer shows, but I love how a Turkish show is almost 2 hours for an episode. Can you imagine Americans? They'd be throwing a conniption fit. Oh my god, we have short attention spans. But I'm like, no, I love this. And the Turkish actors, like they just did it. Like they were straight up, like they would film for hours and they would do these segments. And oh my gosh, the acting in Magnificent Century is really good, by the way. Hi, how you doing? So if you're looking for something new to watch, I definitely recommend Magnificent Century. There is an actor that played Bali B in there. Oh my gosh. I need to finish watching Magnificent Century. This is the thing that's deterred me from finishing it. The episodes are almost 2 hours, some range from an hour and 30 minutes to almost 2 hours. So I got up to episode 45 in several months of watching it, like binge watching it. So I kind of stopped after a while. A little bit after the pandemic started. I don't know. I just haven't got back into it. But that's one thing I would like to do. And I think too, because you're reading the captions, because I've read some other things about Ottoman history, and I am reading the book about Harem Sultan when I get around to it. I haven't been reading the way I once did. I used to just devour books, actually. I don't know. I just haven't always had time because honestly, I work and I work on this channel. And when I make an edited video, I know some people think that those things just jump off the page themselves, but that takes time. So I do love to read, but I also want to work on. Okay, that's another thing I'm doing. I'm starting to work on my hair blog more. I want to post more content there more often. So I still do read. I just haven't made the time to read as much as I should, I guess. But that's not a good excuse. You need to just read. Alrighty then.